Well, hello, everyone, and welcome all of our viewers, all of our listeners from wherever you are. You are now watching Birmingham Bible Church's Entrepreneur Extravaganza. Here it is Saturday, January the 8th at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. We're going to give others an opportunity to come on in. Thank you for all those who have logged in so far. Thank you for joining us today. Listen, do us a favor. Please share this event with others, however you share your events. Take some great notes. Make sure you tell somebody, you text somebody. You tap somebody on the shoulder with your mask on, and just tell them about this great event that's going on right now, because it is top notch. And the only reason it is top notch is because we have some top notch speakers. And I'm excited because they are going to help you grow your business. They're going to help you change your business for the better. And no matter who you are, no matter where you are, we should always be in the process of trying to learn and be better. And so last year we had this forum, and it was so powerful. It was so impactful. We had a lot of people requesting that, talking about it even after the event. And so, of course, we just had to do an encore on this year. And so, listen, there are various ways that you can support this ministry, support this event. You can support it by sharing it. You can share it, and you can sow into it. So you can support, you can share, and you can sow into it. And so we want to especially thank all of our speakers on today for taking time out of their very busy schedule to give us this information and to share just a little bit of what they know in the time frame that they are given. And so, viewers, if you have any questions, please put them in the comment section. Our scribes send them to me, and we can address them when we can, if we can address all of them. And so, viewers, if you are ready, to receive this information, put in the chat room, I'm ready. Just say, I'm ready. I'm ready. Be like Tiffany Haddash. I'm ready. Put in the chat room, I'm ready. I see a lot of you have joined in, especially on Facebook. Thank you so much for doing that. So you are ready. You are ready. So our first speaker for today is Karvance Ross. He is out of Atlanta, Georgia. He has his own company called KBR Consults. He is a marketing expert. He's going to talk more about his company and what he does, and even how you can connect with him. But he's an awesome guy. We had the opportunity just over the past couple of years just to at least see him in some form. I know he works with Dr. Jamal Bryant in Atlanta. He could talk more about that as well. But what we really love about him is that he has just always made himself available to my husband and myself. And so he's going to give us some tips, marketing tips. He's going to give us a vision, the goals. He's going to tell us everything that you need to get the foundation of your business started as pertaining to those things. So I welcome to all of you guys. Thank you, Stanley Brewer. Stanley Brewer says he's ready. So thank you all of you guys for joining it on today. And so I now introduce to you all Karvance Ross. Hey, Karvance.
Hey, First Lady, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Glad to be here with you.
Thank you for joining us today.
It is my pleasure and my honor to all my esteemed panelists who are not just panelists, but all friends, to every Facebook, YouTube, and wherever you are viewer, even those who are watching us from MySpace. We are glad to have you. I'm excited for you. If you do me a favor, and if you just tag 3 people, use that @ symbol, tag 3 people who you know need to be in this space at the top of the year. If you would text this link to 5 people, the last 5 people that you text, you were gossiping, you were going through needless conversation, but you need to send them something that's going to empower them. And if you would just share it to your social media platform, you're an influencer. And what you put on your page influences the people who follow you. I'm excited to be with the Birmingham Bible Church senior pastor, Dr. James Mason, an amazing guy, and his wife, who is a woman of God who has impacted my life in a major way, Pam Mason. It's an honor to be on this platform. I want to not waste your time. I want to get right into the mix. I am not only a marketing expert and a leadership expert, owner of KDR Consulting based out of Atlanta, Georgia, but I'm the pastor of Internet and Innovation at New Birth Cathedral here in Stonecrest, where our senior pastor is Dr. Jamal Harrison Bryant. When you are not watching Birmingham Bible Church, I'm encouraging you to tune in New Birth and give us some of your time and allow us to be able to empower, engage, and change your lives. I've been tasked with the reality that I am talking to entrepreneurs, to leaders, to visionaries in the space of vision, marketing, and goals for your business. And it is 2022, and business does not look the way it looked 2 years ago, a year ago, 6 months ago. And I want to help us understand how we can help our vision, our goals, as well as our marketing be an impactful component of everything that we're going to do in 2022. So I need you to get your notepads out, go to the notes section of your device, because this is going to give you a unique lens on it. I'm going to start by giving you a scripture. This is a church. And although this is marketplace, it is still ministry. Any of you that know anything about me, I'm encouraging you to get my book, The Business in the Bible, because I totally believe that the Bible is 74% focused on marketplace masters more than it is on ministry and church. You're going to see that in the day. I'm going to one passage of scripture, Genesis, the first book of the Bible. You don't even have to be saved to know how to catch the first book. If you go to the first book of the Bible, Genesis chapter 8 and verse 1, Genesis 8 and 1, and I'm reading from the King James Version of the Bible, and it reads as follows. And God remembered Noah. That's it. And God remembered Noah. And I'm talking from this thought, just think about it. Somebody type in the comments, just think about it. You've got to have completely lived underground, under a rock, or been oblivious to everything that's been going on over the last 2.5 years to not realize that we are no longer in a new normal. This is the normal. Because of COVID-19, you have to realize that everything has changed. And the space that has changed the most is business, the marketplace, the kingdoms that focus on government, that focus on arts and entertainment, that focus on business, finance, and the such. And you cannot look at anything the way you looked at it prior to March 15th of 2022, when you recognize that a record 493 people, let me say that again, a record 493 people joined the Forbes World's Billionaire list last year. Did you hear what I said? 493 people joined the world's billionaire list on Forbes last year, meaning that an average of 17 hours, every 17 hours in a day, a new billionaire is popping up on the Forbes list. If you realize that here in Atlanta, the Rolex store in Lenox Square has been at a shortage of Rolexes since 2020. And in a pandemic, Rolex has increased their sales price by 3.4%. When you realize that there is this amount of money being made in a crisis, you cannot look at your business as you usually did. I got this quote from Henry Ford. He says, thinking is the hardest work there is, which is probably the reason why so few engage in it. Benjamin Franklin said, if everyone is thinking alike, then no one is thinking. And Albert Einstein said this, and it blew me away. The world as we have created it is a process of our thinking. It cannot be changed without changing our thinking. And when I realized this, whether you're a consultant, whether you're a trainer, whether you're an educator, whether you're a preacher, whether you're a pastor, a designer, or a consultant, the mistake we've made when we've started to cast vision, look at our marketing, and look at our goals is we've believed in the past that people hired us for our expertise, for our job function, for our products, and for our services. But I've got a news alert. That is not what you're in the business of doing. You, my friend, are business focused only to think. I want you to realize that you're paid to think. It has nothing to do with anything else, because if somebody needed your services, they are not buying a product, they're buying your mind. And when you're capturing this vision at the first month of 2022, I'm changing and imploring you to look at how you think and shift it, because you've been paid to think. I need somebody to type that in the comments. I've been paid to think. Because how you think about business moving forward cannot be how you thought about business in the past. And this passage of scripture helps us to understand that your business is a ministry. It just happens to be in the marketplace. And God has used Noah to help us create principles for vision, marketing, and goals. God himself says up front, I remembered Noah. God is a thinker. God is an individual who uses his mind more than he uses his hands. And I'm challenging you in the business space to realize that God wants you to think before you speak. He has put you in a position where your thoughts will change your revenue. Your thought will change your client base. Your thoughts will change your strategy. Your thoughts will change your reach. But you've got to realize people are paying you to think. And when you go to this book, the first book of the Bible, you realize that God has Noah in a position that his thinking has changed his circumstance. Because whether you realize it or not, as long as I've been in vacation Bible school, as long as I was a scholar in Sunday school, nobody ever told me that Noah had no qualifications for boat building. Noah, by job function, was a farmer. And it'll start making sense to you because God tells him to grab 7 of every type of animal and put it on the ship, because you're already in this space. This is your area of expertise. You're a farmer. So it's going to be easy for you to grab everything because it's already in your hands. And I want to help you to understand that in your situation, God is using your current circumstance to expand your future opportunities. You've got to change how you see vision, because your vision can't stay the same. It can't just be about tomorrow. You've got to look back at what God has given you in yesterday. And because God had Noah with a lineage of people who were thinkers, his great-great-granddaddy was Enoch. And Enoch was so impactful to God that God thought enough of Enoch that he didn't even want Enoch to die. He wanted Enoch to walk with him because Enoch was such a thinker. And now when a crisis occurs, he says to Noah, with these last few minutes I have, I am going to think about you, and you're going to create a template that's going to change the future. God allows Noah with specific dynamics and specific numbers, specific measurements to build the first cruise liner. Noah has no experience in cruise liners, but has anybody ever questioned the reality that after the storm has occurred, how much business did Noah get from people who needed more boats? He was a farmer before a crisis. After a crisis, he has a franchise. And the first thing you've got to understand is that in vision, crisis creates consumers. And you can't do stuff that you were doing before this. You can't keep focusing on the target that you had. You now got to let the crisis create new consumers, because God has put this crisis in here not to marginalize you, not to put you in a space where you can't win, but he put you in a space where you get some new consumers. You got to think about what needs are not there until you thought about it. What situations could not be changed until you thought about it? What circumstances couldn't be made better until you thought about it? Then you get in this situation and Noah is building. He's using what he's already done, and God is thinking about him. And now he's in the situation where nobody believed. Nobody thought it was going to work. He's been preaching for 120 years. It's going to rain. And the only reason that it needed to rain is because God said people did not know how to expire themselves. Because to this point, people were living 969 years, 600 years, and they didn't put themselves out of business. And you've got to understand that goals allow your expertise to open opportunities for new lanes of legacy. Because you got to expire some old thinking and introduce some new thinking. And your situation in the pandemic does not put you in a position where you are going to be a thousandaire. But I believe I'm talking to some millionaires in front of us who have found themselves in the situation where they got to expire their old thinking. You can't keep staying on the job you were in before the crisis. You can't be fearful in the way you were before the crisis. This moment has put you in a position to expire your old fears, your old circumstances, and your old situations. Finally, after this storm is over, after Noah has used his current of people who wouldn't work with him to push him to his destination. Get back to Genesis 8. The first thing the Lord says after Noah is higher than he was when the crisis started, God remembered him. When it comes down to marketing, never allow detractors to drown your destiny. I'm going to say that again. Never allow detractors to drown your destiny. Remember, Noah is being pushed on the backs of the people who said he was dumb. He's literally allowing currents of dead people to get him to his destination. And in your business, you got to let some folk die that didn't believe in your vision, that didn't believe in your dream, that wouldn't buy your product. You'll find yourself everybody's nephew, everybody's favorite son when it starts making sense. Only because your destiny is marketed because of the fact that there are some people who died that wouldn't believe. And now you got to realize you got to change your thinking. This is replete because God has said over and over again, my thoughts are not your thoughts. I don't think the way you think. I don't move how you move. You got to see a different way of thinking. And I want to challenge you, whether you're a pastor, whether you're a visionary, whether you're a marketing expert, whether you are an individual who is scared to start your business, to start thinking like other people won't think. He says, I want you to get into yourself and realize as a man or a woman thinks in his heart, so is he. You got to start putting this thing in your head, start making it manifest in your heart, and then start working the vision that nobody else believes. And as I shut this thing down, I'm challenging you to just think about it. Just think about how further you could be if you had started this at the top of the pandemic. Think about how much further you could be if you changed from technology to sanctuary at the top of the pandemic. Think about how much more people you could have impacted if you stopped being scared of just the one business and expanded it to something that you didn't even have any expertise in. Realizing that when you turn your ministry into the marketplace, God will open up opportunities in a crisis that'll make you have to think about it. And I'm challenging you to think about it, because the money that you're getting ready to make is not going to be because of your hands. It's not going to be because of your feet. It's not going to be because of your website. You're getting ready to get paid because of how you think. Change how you think and watch the change in your pocket turn into dollars in the bank that will ultimately find you on the Forbes list. I'm challenging you to just think about it. Thank you so much for your time. First Lady, Senior Pastor, we're back in your hands.
Wow. Karvance, that was so on time. And I believe last year we had a speaker to come on, and Steve had introduced us to him as well, and he was talking about shifting. And what you say is so key, because we have to, the world is constantly changing. And so a lot of times people, their business died. I mean, I'm looking at all kind of restaurants who have closed probably because they could not change the way they used to do things. They used to people coming in, having a seat, sitting down and eating. No one thought about, hey, let's see if we can take this food to people. People are sick, they have COVID, but that is so on point. You could talk about different tips on what to do, but until we actually change our mindset and change the way we think, and you're right, people pay you for your ideas. They pay you to think, because if not, they'll just do it themselves.
Yeah.
And man, that was awesome. Karvance, how can people contact you?
Yeah, it's real easy, First Lady. You can, if you're looking for marketing, strategic development, I encourage you to go to KDR. That is King David Robert Consults, CONSULTS.com. And if you need one-on-one coaching with the Kingmaker, I have a website just for you to get you to the business space. You simply go to the Kingmakers Club with an S, thekingmakersclub.com. And my team is standing ready and willing to assist you. You can get consultations, you can get strategies, you can get retainer services, everything from your social media management to your website creation to training and development. Or if you just simply want me to be able to help you think different, whether it's your church, whether it's your business, whether it's your executive team, wherever your need is, our company and my services will help you think differently.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Karvance. That was awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, we're not going to labor the time. Next, we have Miss Sarita Talbert. She is out of Chicago. She actually, and I've talked to her actually even on last month. We had an opportunity to converse about some things, and went and kind of looked at her website, but she has a lot of experience, over 25 years of experience. She is going to help you and tell you how you can set up your business for success financially. And so she provides she provides business services, financial services to individuals and to small businesses. So we're going to give her the floor at this time to talk to all of you all about how you can help set up your business financially for success. Hello, Miss Sarita.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well this morning. I'm trying to get over this great introduction that my brother Karvance did. Just so powerful.
I know. I think this is a little different. This Omicron is and everything, Flurona, whatever else is out there. It's our seasonal allergies, everything. Yes, ma'am. Tell us, give our listeners just some tips on how we can be better financially.
All right. Well, first of all, I'm Sarita. I'm the owner of Sarita Inc. Been in business over 25 years. I do small business consulting for both personal, small businesses, and nonprofits. So I basically kind of help people get structured. The tips that I give anybody starting off is you definitely want to start with a business name. You kind of put that in motion, that kind of brings things a little bit to reality. And then the next step, which is the most important step, is trying to figure out what your business structure is, which is going to kind of determine what your tax situation is at the end of the year. A lot of people have an issue that I found, especially during the pandemic when I was helping small businesses apply for like the PPP loan, is they thought because they completed their EIN number and they marked I'm an LLC or I'm a C corporation, that they were technically a business structure. And asking them more questions, I found out that they never did the proper filing with their state to become either an LLC, C corporation, S corporation. So they kind of missed out on some money because their business was not set up properly. I think a lot of times small businesses, we go with what we know, whether it's a service that we provide or it's a product that we create, and we don't take the time to do the administrative work, which will put you in a lot of debt in the future if you don't kind of set your business up correctly. So after creating your name, the first thing you want to do is figure out what your business structure is. Again, whether you're a sole proprietor, you still want to do a doing business as, whether that's putting an ad in the local newspaper, whatever your state requires, you want to do that. Or people have a question, well, should I become an LLC, C Corp, S Corp? And each one has its own business structure based on what your tax filing is at the end of the year. So it'll depend on if you have a partner, if you're doing it solo, if you're going to be working from home. So there's a lot of like questions that you need to ask to make sure you're set up. But once you figure that out, you definitely, if you have any partners you're going in business with, you want to make sure that you have an operating agreement set in place. Like these are all the foundational things that, again, if you don't, business goes sour, there goes your money, or, your money is tied up at that point. Also, it's understanding when you become a nonprofit to understand that that nonprofit is not yours. It becomes the board. So you want to be very strategic on who you have on that board, because as your nonprofit grows, your board, if you don't have a good working relationship with them, or you put people that really don't have good intentions for you and or your vision, they basically can write you off that board. So therefore, you got to make sure that you have those things in place. And then once you have your business structure, then I tell people to go get your tax ID number, because then you're marking off the correct form and you're notifying the IRS, this is how I'm going to report my business at the end of the year. Every business structure has its own tax return. Some require that your business, such as a S Corp, you need to make sure that that business tax return is completed first before you do your personal tax return, because the business will issue you, say, like a K-1. If you have a partnership, you and your partner need to make sure that the partnership return is completed first. So it's not you do your thing, I do my thing. It don't work like that. What happens is you lose money on the back end because you have to amend your taxes to make sure that they're done properly. So once you got that, you got your tax ID, you've notified. You also want to make sure that you check with your city, state, local government to see if there's any business licenses that you may need. For some businesses, say you are in food services, may require you to have a business license and or a permit. So you want to make sure that you're running under the right rules and regulations of your city, state, or county. So therefore, in the middle of something, they're not coming in and shutting you down because you're not registered properly with them. And then once you kind of get all that, then you go and you create a bank account. This allows you to set up your business bank account. You want to do this right at the beginning so you can make sure that you have great accounting systems set up also. So whether you use QuickBooks, or what I suggest to people is to use like mint.com, which is this created by the owners of QuickBooks, Intuit. Mint basically is marketed to individuals. So you put your credit card information, your banking account information, and it tracks and it lets you know where you're spending at. It creates categories. So at the end of the year, you have a snapshot of what your spending habits were over the year. It's free. Now, unless you have employees and you have to, issue W-2s, pay out for unemployment insurance. If you're a small, like one person, or you have a situation where you're paying out 1099s to subcontractors, I suggest using Mint in place of QuickBooks. Again, it's free. It does the exact same thing. It has no idea, but what you'll do is you'll input your business credit card, your business bank account information, and it will help you to track your expenses as well as any income that you receive over the year. So when it's time to do your taxes that following year, you are in compliance, in place. Yeah, you want on a monthly basis to take 10, 15 minutes to kind of go through, do a little bank reconciliation, make sure things are categorized properly. But then you don't have to worry about at the end of the year trying to go through receipts and pay someone like me to go through it and do all that bookkeeping for you. And then it kind of takes the worry out of if you have to pay, say, quarterly taxes to the IRS or to your state, you want to make sure you kind of get ahead of that so you don't end up in debt or with the big hefty tax liability. Also, if you're a small business, and again, based on your business structure, if you have a W-2 job, sometimes those first couple of years, you're going to be filing a loss. So that will help to offset your income, thereby prayerfully engaging you in a bigger tax refund that you can reinvest into your business and grow it. Outside of that, I also suggest companies of setting up their Dun & Bradstreet, which is creating your own business credit file. It's just like Experian, TransUnion for us as a personal people. Dun & Bradstreet is who companies look for if they want to extend credit to your business. So again, by establishing a bank account, you're establishing a relationship with your bank. By creating a Dun & Bradstreet account, you can start getting small lines of credits, building business credits, talking to your bank to, again, in the future, you'll be able to get that business line of credit. And then after that, you want to make sure that if applicable, you want to look at applying for certification as a minority-owned business or a women minority-owned business. This allows you to do contracts with the state, the government, the county, which are school system. There's different levels of it. So depending on what state you're in, they may only need a certain certification, but the main one kind of covers all gamuts. And it allows you now to start going after that government contracting. You become a vendor, in which you have more ways of getting like different streams of income coming in, that technically would not be available to you if you don't have the certification. So once you have all of that, then the most important thing is, I always suggest, is taking either an online class, which is free, or looking out at your local community colleges and taking some type of business class, even if it's just an overview, just so you have a little knowledge of different parts of running a business. Yes, you may be very fluent in what it is that you do, but all that administrative stuff, if you don't get a hold of, a lot of people don't realize on a yearly basis that they have to do an annual filing report just with their state to say that I'm still in business. They get it mixed up between, oh, but I filed my taxes. Yes, but your state may require you, they want money. They want to make sure you're still in business, which may allow them to know if you're still in the same location, or if you are looking at multiple locations, who your board of directors are. And that is very important, because if you aren't applicable with your state and make sure you're filing on time, they can dissolve your company, and then you will be running a dysfunctional, non-functioning business. And again, that will go into your pockets, because now you got to pay late fees, penalties, and all of that. So those are kind of the 10 steps that I kind of give new businesses starting. And definitely, if you're looking to start a nonprofit, I always say, make sure you take a class on how to run a nonprofit. There's tons of free nonprofit organizations out here, both online and in person, that will give you, again, a little bit of knowledge, just so you know. You can always hire people, but you also want to be knowledgeable enough to make sure that someone's not taking advantage of you, because you need to make sure you know where all your dollars are going. So that's my little spiel. Again, I do business coaching. I do setting up of small businesses or getting people established, as well as doing the certification. So you can come to sarita.biz, that's SYREETA.biz, and send me a message, and I'll be sure to get back to you.
Sarita, that was awesome. I mean, you
Thank you.
I mean, I wish I would have kind of hooked up with you, even years ago, because I mean, never thought about the part, even about the board, the partnership thing. It sounds so familiar, because you were saying that if you're in partner with somebody, make sure y'all get an agreement established up front. Our next person, Katrina, when she does a lot of live talks, and she was on Clubhouse, and she was actually saying that. She was saying, listen, before y'all get at it, you need to go ahead and establish, okay, just in case we decide to dissolve it, this is what's going to happen, so that, when that time comes, we're not trying to sue and all that kind of stuff. But all those steps you gave were great, so important. We have quite a few people I know at our church who started businesses. And so I know they are listening, they're on, but that is great. please tell me again, because I know each state is different. Well, let me ask you this. Can you help people in different states?
Yes.
Okay.
So no matter what state that you're in, I can help do the formulation of your business. And then also at the end of the year, of course, I do all taxes for personal, business, nonprofits, no matter what state you're located in.
Okay, great. Tell me again, because I'm gonna put this in the chat room, how
Sure.
people can contact you again.
You can go to my website, which is Sarita, SYREETA.biz.
All right.
And if you subscribe right now on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I send out detailed tax tips, a little video with more detailed information. So like next week, I'm talking about credits, which I know a lot of individuals want to know about. And then the week after that, I will be talking more about business tax deductions, credits out there, making sure that you issue 1099s for any subcontractors that you have. You don't want to be responsible for income that you received if some of that income was payable out to someone else. You want to make sure you're in compliance, because if you don't file those forms on time, then your pockets will get hit by the IRS, again, that you're not filing any complaints. And then certain business tax returns have their own specific due dates. So they're not quite in alignment with what we as like a personal individual. So you want to make sure, you know, that you subscribe and get those tax tips.
Okay. All right, guys. So listen, please contact her. She definitely knows what she's talking about. So she can help you go through all those details, all those in and out, so you're not having to pay all this money on people that you have subcontracted with. So thank you so much for Sarita.
You're welcome.
Information. Thank you so much. And next we have she is a wonderful Miss Katrina Brown. We love her. We simply love her. And all of our guests on here are just so down to earth. But she's going to talk about how to trademark your name, how that's important, why that's important, the importance of it, copywriting, a lot of things that everybody was saying already. She said before on other platforms, and so she has her own practice, Creative Mind Law Firm. And I tell you, the other day, well, this was, I think it was last year, Katrina was talking about stuff that just really made sense, you know, like people who are on their full-time job, but they're trying to get the side hustle together. And she said, listen, when you on your job, don't be on those people's Wi-Fi. I was like, you know what? I never thought about that, but that makes sense, you know. But she just gives some great tips, just period. Just anytime we talk to her, I've listened to her. It's just always great information. And so I bring to you all Katrina, tell her like it is, Brown. Hey, Katrina.
Good morning. And I know you guys probably won't believe this, but I really am going to be brief today.
Oh, really?
I'm excited about sharing information about protecting your brand. I did want to start off by saying this, and I think I use this every time I talk about entrepreneurship and intellectual property protection. Proverbs 13:22, when it says that a wise man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. And I always tell people inheritance is not just talking about money, right? We're talking about the ability, character, right? Legacy, brand protection, those things. When we talk about leaving an inheritance, although I do think, like, listen, if you don't have some life insurance out here, I'm gonna need you to get that done ASAP. Okay. I know that's not the topic, but I just want to tell you, don't stop these GoFundMe. Neither here nor there. Here's my point, is that when it talks about leaving an inheritance for your children's children, it's so important to think about it when you're an entrepreneur, when you're a business, what is your legacy? What are you leaving your children to inherit? And one of the things I know about our people is that if we're nothing else, we are extremely creative. Like, I want to tell you, Black people know how to make $1 out of 15 cents. They know how to do it. The problem with that is that we will turn a 15 cent into $1, but we won't get paid for it. Somebody else will come, see what we did. They'll take that dollar and they'll go make $1 million off of it. And it's because we do not think through the process of protection, of ownership. And not to get all historic on it, but you got to think about it. when we came to this nation, they viewed us as property, and they created laws, and they created mechanisms and put them in place to be able to own us, to be able to have ownership. Why do you think they created these laws? Because they needed something in place to say that these people, these groups of people, these things belong to me. And as we began to get our rights back, and as we began to flourish and start business and start Black Wall Street, they started taking notes like, oh my God, they can do this. They can read, they can create these things. And so what they begin to do is set other laws in place. And say, well, in order for you to actually own it, even though you created it in your house and you and Big Mama been passing this recipe down for years, in order for you to own it, you've got to register it with the government. Otherwise, it's up for grabs. And so that's the context in which I am talking about protecting your intellectual property today, right? You see it for those young people who are on TikTok, and I am a TikTok fan. I make TikToks. I love TikTok. You see it all the time where you see white influencers will take a Black dance that we've been doing forever, that my mom and them were doing forever. They put their little swang on it and they're getting paid. They're turning into millionaires off of it. Now we have a situation where as Black influencers and Black TikTokers, we can actually start to copyright our dance moves. And you will be surprised that not a lot of Black people are applying the application for it, even though we are creating dances that where Fortnite and all these other companies are making millions off of our efforts. I say all that to say is that if you're starting a business, if you, not just a business, but if you have catchy taglines, if you have a recipe, if you are making something, I'm going to talk about the different types of intellectual property in a minute, that it's important for you to ask the question, is this something that I actually own? Is this something that can be owned? Let me tell you what ownership is not. Ownership is not a domain name. Just because you got www, whatever the name of your business is.com, does not mean you own your brand. You just own the domain name. Just because you have your handles on social media, that does not mean that you own your brand. Just because you put TM behind the name or the idea, the catchphrase, does not mean you own your brand. You do not own your brand. You do not only officially unless it is registered with the federal government or on the state level. And so there are 4 types of trademarks that or intellectual property that we recognize. The first one is trade secrets. We don't talk a lot about that, but what that is what I would say formulas, recipes, methods, and processes. And so by methods and process, I mean, like if you create a way of doing something on a platform through like QuickBooks, and not necessarily QuickBooks, but that accounting formation or method, that's something that you can actually do a trade secret on. Think Coca-Cola recipes, think KFC recipes, think Chick-fil-A recipe, think of those types of companies when you think about trade secrets. One of the things that Coca-Cola does is that Coca-Cola has a bunch of different floors, and on each floor, they work on a different ingredient. Nobody on floor 5 knows what's on floor 7. That's how they keep the trade secret apart. And so it's thinking about what are some things that were created. So if you're out here selling creams or oils, and I see a lot of hair growth oils and all these different things that are really popular right now, that may be worth checking in to see, hey, do I need to put a trade secret on this? The criteria for having it as a trade secret is the information has to be kept confidential. It has to be something that only you know. It has to be something that is kept in a confidential way, in a confidential space, whether that's through a vault or a lockbox or whatever, but it's something that has to be, that needs to be limited in how that information is disseminated. The other part of that is understanding that we have what we call trademarks. And this is my favorite thing to talk about. And we're talking about words, catchphrases, slogans, hashtags, trade dresses. And by that, I mean like pattern design. So if you sew and you create a pattern that is unique, then you can probably get a trademark on that as well, that supports your brand. Think about Google, think about Just Do It with Nike, McDonald's, the big golden M. Think about those types of companies, Starbucks and Google and Apple, when you think about trademarks, right? Think about the Kardashians, because they own so many, it's not even funny, because they understand the power of ownership and trademark. The next one we have is what we call copyrights. And that's going to be writing, computer software, music, art, architect, graphic design, and underlining ideas. And I want to say this, if I don't say nothing else, you don't hear anything else. Those of you who are artists who write gospel songs, because I'm telling you, sometimes the gospel industry can be dirty when it comes to music. Let me be clear. if you're writing songs and performing them, you need to make sure that you're copywriting this, that you're getting credit, because you will have big name artists swoop down and take your music and they'll be out here singing it, making $1 million trillion off of it, and you will have no rights. And so understanding what your contribution is, if you're out here playing the drums on it, understand what you own in the creation of this music, right? Because one thing Black people are, we're musical. And I want to make sure, because we don't talk enough about that, is making sure we talk about the ownership when it comes to music, but especially in the gospel industry as well. When you think about copyrights, think about, To Kill a Mockingbird, some of your favorite CDs, video games, and things of that nature. And then we have what we call a patent, which is one of the most amazing things about intellectual property. And we're talking about utility, which means like a machine, process, a good, or a method, or design, something unique to that design. Most people I don't deal with will do a patent, but there are people who are geniuses and they create something, whether it's technology that can help cure cancer, whether it's technology that can help solve an issue, and that needs to have a patent on it. So making sure you understand where your idea or creation falls in on this particular list. Second thing I want to talk about is I have what we call an IP protection checklist, and I'm just going to go through it really quickly, and I'll be happy to share this on my Instagram page as well. A couple of things. Create and protect your brand. Before you invest a lot of money and resources into building your business around a particular name, search and make sure that there are not any competitors that are already using that name so that you are not confused. I cannot tell you how many clients I have seen have to spend a lot of money that they did not have to rebrand because they did not take the time to do a research. And let me just say this, a search is not just Google, right? You need to contact an intellectual property attorney to do a comprehensive search, especially if it's something that you're about to spend a lot of money in. If you own companies, if you own a restaurant or a food truck, you may have to rewrap that truck, and you know how expensive that is if you are using a brand that somebody already owns. So make sure you do the work before you start spending a lot of money and resources into claiming a name. You also want to make sure that you check and see if these things are registered, right? If they're not registered, you want to go ahead and start that process to see if it's something that can be registered with the trademark or copyright office. Protection of your business ideas and their output. Before building a business based on your invention that you believe is can be a trademark, a patent, or anything like that, you need to consult with an attorney first. And I'm not just saying this because I am an attorney, and listen, I love to make my money. I love meeting clients. I have a business to run, but I always say you need to meet with an attorney with some integrity, because one of the things people will tell you about me that I'll just tell you straight up, I'm like, I don't think that one's going to work. Let me give you your money back. Because what I would never do is take a client's money knowing that something may not fit the qualifications for. So you want to make sure that you're dealing with somebody with some integrity, but you need to consult somebody who does this on a regular basis, who can look at your idea and say, hey, yeah, this is good. You should trademark this. This is something that should be copyrighted. This is very important. So make sure you're consulting with an attorney, preferably me, to get those things done. Also, too, you also want to make sure that when you're talking about your ideas, especially if you are creating something where you need other people to be involved, you need to make sure you have the right type of agreements in place before you start having these conversations. You make sure that if you are creating let's say an app and you need an actual app designer, that person should be willing to sign a non-disclosure agreement. That person should be willing to sign a non-compete agreement. What that says is that, hey, listen, you're going to hear my idea and you're agreeing not to disclose this to anybody else that may come along that may have an app idea. You're agreeing not to compete, not take my idea and run off and create it yourself just because you know how to create an app. Those types of agreements are extremely important when you're going to start pulling people on to help you make your dream becoming a reality. And if people are not willing to sign those agreements, then you don't need to do business with them. People who are in the business of helping entrepreneurs and helping creators, they understand why they need to sign these documents. So making sure that you have non-disclosure agreements, non-compete clause, that you have those things in place so that you're preventing people from infringing on your intellectual property. The other thing is you want to exercise caution. I cannot stress this enough. Exercise caution when using any ideas and images or contents that you did not create or you do not own. I'm seeing a lot more lawsuits filed now because people are taking images of other people and putting it on their brand, right? Because it's available on the internet. Well, you didn't take the picture. You don't know this person. So you want to make sure that you have some type of release or waiver to use the pictures that you want to use for your brand. I'd hate for you to have a lawsuit and whatever money you made using that person's picture, you now have to give them a cut of that. Those things are important. You want to verify that this is a picture or image or something that's available for the public domain, because there are sites out there like Canva. If you sign up for the Pro Edition where the pictures are already licensed and you can use. But if you're just Googling pictures and using someone's image without some type of license agreement or waiver, that could be a liability in that as well. Also, you want to make sure that as you are hiring your team, as you're building your business, that you have your policies and procedures in place with your employees, but also that they sign those agreements that I mentioned earlier, the non-compete clause, the non-disclosure agreement. That protects you in a lot of different ways. One of the ways it protects you is that it protects them being able to see your client list. A lot of you guys deal with clients and you're going to deal with people's issues, and you want to make sure that that information is protected as well. So when I talk about protecting your intellectual property, it's not just trademarks and copyright. It goes deeper than that. It's having the proper contracts in place. If you're going to hire an employee versus a contractor, right? Knowing what those things are, knowing what the difference are, and how you're dealing with the people that are working with you and working for you. I want to make sure, I think I have about 2 more minutes left. Make sure that I hit all the important things. The main thing I want to stress to this is that if you have a question about whether you can trademark, copyright, or create a trade secret about something, you need to consult with an attorney. I cannot stress enough to you that I wish my people would be more proactive as opposed to reactive. I hate when I read stories and hear things. There's a conversation being had right now about a Black spa owner in New York City who has had this name for years. And now Kim Kardashian has created a business using the exact same name and trademarked it, right? And now they're fighting her tooth and nail to prevent her from using it. But the Black spa owner didn't trademark. And so when you, and yes, she does have common rights and she has common law, what we call common law rights, but you got to spend a whole lot of money to pay a whole lot of attorneys to fight that in court. And you know, Kim Kardashian got a line of attorneys to just bury them in paperwork. And so my point is that a lot of times when I'm talking to business owners, it's like my brother said, initially is how we think, but never think that your business is too small to be copied. There are people watching you right now. They're watching what you do. And whereas you may not believe that you have something great, other people see it. Other people can hear. I have clients that tell me catchphrases, and I literally tell them to face, man, I wish the Lord had given that to me first. Right? Because you know it's going to be good. You may not believe that your thing is good, but other people see it and they're watching you. And there are companies and people that are watching, waiting on you to make a mistake so that they can swoop in and take it. So I just want you to be cautious. I want you to watch who you tell your ideas to. You shouldn't be telling everybody about everything that you have going on. I know we're living in a time now where everything we eat, we got to post. Everything we do, we got to post. Everything that happens to us, we got to post. Every new car, we got to post. We wipe our nose. We got to post everything. But there are some things that you need to hold tight to the vest until you get the proper protection in place. I'm gonna pass it back over to you, Lady Pam. I'm done.
You know, the bottom line is, Katrina, we need to just pay for the services. A lot of times, you know, we try to get out of, you know, we want to not spend money or, you know, spend the very minimal. But some services you got to pay for. It is just
Absolutely.
so important. And you're right. A lot of times we are just too trusting. I remember a conversation you had with our daughter with her writing service, and you said, listen, if you come out with this particular idea, you tell your mom and your daddy, and that's it. And you tell me, and that's it. Don't you tell nobody else, because you're right.
Right.
Because somebody, even a publisher, can take that idea or whatever, user form sell it or whatever, and you have not had them sign any non-disclosure, no non-compete clause, and then the images. I just know, every time you come on here, it's just something different that I've learned. And of course, we learned about images because the church has a website, and so we know about that part. But just some of our people need to know that as they're, having their business, you can't just grab a picture from somewhere and say, hey, get my services, this person liked it. No, you can't do that, And so great information. Katrina, we always come to you for everything, and then we send people to you. So tell people how they can contact you so you can help them brand and get their forms together for non-disclosure, non-compete, and all that. How can they reach out to you?
So of course on Facebook is Creative Mind Law Firm. I'm mainly on Instagram a lot. It's at Your Trademark Attorney. You also can visit the website at www.creativemindlaw.com and reach out to us from there. You can follow our YouTube page, Creative Mind Law, where I do a different series every month. For the month of February, we're doing Minding My Black-owned business. And we're going to have every week, we're going to do a different segment of business ownership. So we're going to talk to some business owners who are in beauty. So we're going to be talking to my favorite, the people that I work with, the people who do my hair, the people that are in that industry, but also real estate. I'm excited about sharing that one as well. We're going to be talking about realtors and bringing some people on, talking about Black ownership as it relates to real estate and what that looks like in a business, Airbnbs and all of that. So I'm excited. Follow the YouTube channel because we're going to be talking about that all for the month of February. So
Awesome.
that's it.
And you too, what's your Creative Mind Law?
Creative Mind Law for YouTube.
Okay, all right, got it. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Katrina. Thank you so much. Great
You're
info.
welcome. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. All right, and now we have Miss Shada. Miss Shada Spikes. She has been with us before, but she is the owner of Spike Communications. She's the owner of the $5 jewelry truck. She works for the Atlanta Police Department with their communication. So anything that goes down in the police department in Atlanta, she handles it. And so we love her as well because she also keeps it 100 about your communication. And so she's going to talk to us about how to communicate in your business. What are you communicating to your clients? How are you communicating to them? So she's going to deal with that, and just whatever she has on her heart, she's going to deal with that in her own way. Hello, Miss Shada. How are you?
Hello, 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 hello. I am super excited about being here. When Katrina was talking, I had to pop on and show my face and give her some thumbs up and shake my head and say, amen. I am excited about being here. This is a great panel. We have presented before, and every single time I hear this panel, I get another nugget. I've worked with so many people on this panel. Sarita, Karvance. When I started my business, he was who helped me start my business. Stephen, he has pushed me with my business and all the 50 million things that I do. But when it comes down to communication and customer service go hand in hand. But before I talk about the communication part and how you deal with your customers, we need to talk about communication with yourself. First things first, if you want to have a business, you got to open your mouth. You do have to adhere to the things that Katrina was saying. If you got those secrets and you've got that, as I say, G14 classified information for your business, but you got to open your mouth. If I never opened my mouth, I would have never made contact with Karvance, and he was my consultant when I started my business. If I never opened my mouth and actually said, I need help, I would not have been able to say something to Stephen, and he put me in touch with Sarita. That would not have happened. So communicating about your needs is important, and communicating with the people who have already done what you're trying to do, that's even more important, because a lot of business owners make the wrong mistakes. They may say the wrong thing. So first and foremost, you got to open your mouth, because a closed mouth don't get fed. And that's something that a lot of business owners think, well, I can do it myself. I can do this myself. And I'm going to do it this way. And you're going to go to Google. Google will lead you down. It's a good resource. but it can lead you down the path of no return, because there are so many people out here who are scammers, who literally will take your money and in the end leave you holding the bag. So it's very important to communicate your needs so you can work with people. Another thing is communicating to yourself about yourself. A lot of people say they want to be an entrepreneur. And I walked away from a 6-figure income job 3 years ago, and I focused on my 2 main businesses. That's one is an MLM, but it became a business that grew that I would have never thought would have grown. And that's the $5 jewelry truck. It's a real jewelry truck, a business. I just said, oh, I'll do it. It's something fun. It's a stress reliever. But I also had my communications business, which is Fight Communications. That business is one in which I began to get contracts with cities and governments and police departments. And then it turned into my 9 to 5. And I say that because I had a contract with the city of Atlanta doing some consulting. And at the height of the George Floyd, the civil unrest during the death of George Floyd, the police chief, she resigned and the communications person left. So I said, hey, I'll work for 3 months. That's turned into more than a year. But I was able to take my connections with my business and it became my career, but I still have my clientele. But I said all of that to say, you've got to speak positive over yourself if you want other people to support your business. You've got to be encouraged, because being an entrepreneur is not as glorified as you think. We make it look good. We make it look easy, but it is important to know that when you are an entrepreneur, sometimes you got to be your own bookkeeper, because you might not have the money to call Sarita and pay her to keep your books for you, because you don't want to end up tax time. She's going to charge you for having to get all those receipts together and do all that math. So it's important for you to understand, as an entrepreneur and a thriving entrepreneur and a soon-to-be entrepreneur, because I know there's someone on here who's been thinking about it, who's been every day, it's keeping you up at night, and you've got something that God has given you, but you're sitting on it. You're waiting on it, and you've got all the signs. Well, God, I need a sign for this. God, I need a sign for that. The signs are there. Consider this live, your sign. This is your sign right here, right now. It's 12:06 in Atlanta. It's 11:06 in Birmingham. This is your sign. This is the time you need to go ahead, get off your butt, finish listening to us, but get off your butt and go do what you need to do. I don't want to hear you saying, well, I don't have a big enough space. I don't have this. I don't have that. Do you realize how many businesses started in a garage or in a closet? Think about it. Mattel, Barbie dolls, Harley Davidson, motorcycles. They started in garages and in closets. So you got to think like Karvance said, but you also got to speak over your life, and you've got to communicate to yourself in a way that encourages you. Because as an entrepreneur, there are going to be times when there is no one who's going to give you the push. There will be times when there won't be someone to say, hey, you need to do this, this, and this, and this. You got to encourage yourself. Now, when it comes down to communicating with customers and communicating with clientele, you've got to figure out what their communication style is as well as yours. The first thing is, how do you communicate? Are you the person who needs to communicate for your business? I'm the spokesperson for the City of Atlanta Police Department. That's because that's what I do, and there's a reason why. But you've got to figure out, am I the person who needs to communicate for my business? I'm going to give you an idea and give you an example. There are a lot of husband and wife businesses. There are some businesses where the husband is just a better communicator than the wife. The wife may need to be the person who focuses on the bookkeeping, focuses on keeping time, and focuses on the paperwork. And the husband may need to be the spokesperson because he may have the swag. He may have the personality. And I need you to understand that sometimes you just might not have that personality to go and talk to everybody. And I need you to really, and you need you more than anything, you need to figure out, how do you communicate? One thing, I know we rely on our cell phones, but one thing I tell people is, do not conduct all your business on a cell phone, because things get lost in translation. A punctuation in the wrong place can change the whole context. So if you can have an opportunity to communicate, of course, we can't communicate face to face like we used to, but pick up the phone, call people, Because oftentimes in text messages, things get lost. You said something and then you said it with some capital letters and you didn't even realize you had all caps on, and it becomes a whole situation. So pick up the phone, email, write. Now, let me say this. When you email people and when you send text messages, especially if something has happened that didn't go your way, do not send text messages and emails when you're emotional and when you're at that level. Because some of us are allowing the negative situations that happen in business to take up a lot of real estate in our brain, and then we push that out in the way that we communicate. So when you have customers and clientele and you may have had some type of disagreement, do not send that text, do not send that email, and don't pick up that phone until you've calmed down. Sometimes you got to dial it back a little bit. Sometimes we're always like, I'm gonna get them a piece of our mind. And I always say, you wonder why you got a headache. It's because you're giving everybody a piece of your mind. Somebody will get that on their way home. But I need you to understand how to build your communication style, whether that communication be, if it is via text, understanding how to do it. We have technology. Understand how to communicate to your audience. Figure out who is your audience. Who are your clients? There's something that I'll never forget that Karvance taught me. He said, everybody ain't your client. You got to decide who is your client. I remember going through a process where he made me literally figure out who was my ideal client. And he's tough, but it was worth it. I had to figure out my ideal client. And then that way I knew how to communicate with my ideal client. My ideal clients are leaders. I work with people who are at the top of their game. And he says he's the king maker, but I'm going to say the queen maker too. But I had to learn how to communicate with people, and learning how to communicate with people who aren't Black. That's something that a lot of Black owned businesses, we want to just talk the normal talk because you know, my sister, you my girl, sister, boo, girl. No, that's not appropriate all the time. And just because I'm Black doesn't mean that we got that kind of relationship. Because when you're dealing with my money, let me explain something, sister or not. You know where I'm going, everybody, right? Because sometimes it's not appropriate. But understanding how to find a level playing field and communicating and treating all of your customers the same. And when you communicate, understand the importance of things like please and thank you. Understand that sending a thank you note, sending a thank you gift can go a very long way. I want you to really take time to really look at some of your emails that you've sent to people you've worked with and do an analysis of those emails, even your text messages. And I want you to also do inventory control of your social media and the various platforms that you use to include your website. What does it communicate? I've seen people who they're selling products and they have a product that they're focused on, but I see everything else in the product on the website or in their social media. And I'm like, what am I buying? So understand that even that is a way of communicating. Even what you show, even what you show is how you communicate. Communicating isn't just what you say, it's what people see. Understand what people see is a way to communicate. There are so many things I want to just tell you. You got to walk it and you got to talk it. Some of you look great, but when you open your mouth, it's another situation. And let me get back to you. Know how to pitch yourself. Practice an elevator pitch. 30 seconds. Tell people what you are, who you are, what your business is, and why they need to give you money, why there needs to be an exchange. Make sure you do that. There's something I want to leave with because I know I can get real long-winded with this because I love it. I love helping people, but I want to leave you with this. There are times that where I live, there's a Chick-fil-A and there's a McDonald's and they're next door to each other. The Chick-fil-A can have a line wrapped around the building down the street. The McDonald's most times doesn't have anybody around the building. Only time that McDonald's is packed is on Sunday. And you know why? You know, because Chick-fil-A is closed on Sunday. But I will wait in the line at that Chick-fil-A because I like the way they talk to me. I like their customer service. And I know Stephen's going to talk about customer service, but how you communicate with people is a form of customer service. I will wait in line for that chicken sandwich before I will go to that McDonald's that has nobody working, nobody in the line, because I know I'm going, when they communicate with me, they ask me my name and it makes me feel good. And it's yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, please, and thank you, my pleasure. How you talk to people goes a long way. How you treat people goes a long way. Always remember that old saying. People are gonna always remember how you made them feel. And how you talk to people will help people understand how you as a business owner feel about them as a client. And understand that all money ain't good money. But when people take the time and take their hard-earned money and provide that money to you for a service or a product, it's important that you treat them with a level of respect. And that respect, number one, comes with how you talk to them, how you greet them, how you communicate, your nonverbals. We'll talk about that one at a later time, because let me tell you, some of you, when you're working your nonverbals, what you're looking like when people come up to you, I've gone places and I'm like, you know what? I don't think I want to do business here. Let me go somewhere else where at least when I walk in the door, I'm greeted with a smile. And be mindful of that. A smile can go a long way. So with that said, I'm smiling at you. I hope you're smiling back at me. I thank you. And I hope that you gained something from listening to me. And if you want to know more about me, it's Shata Spikes. That's my name. That's my real name, not my stage name. That's Chata Spikes, Spikes. However, my business is Spiked, Spiked. You can't see it on my shirt, but it's Spiked Communications LLC. And that's my website, spikecommunicationsllc.com. Lady Pam, I'm tossing it back over to you. I hope you all have enjoyed. And again, I say thank you.
Thank you so much, Shada. Man, awesome, awesome, awesome. I love what you said about not communicating when you are emotional, because you can, believe it or not, you can lose clients, you can lose people, and then you kind of wondering, like, why is it I'm not getting the business that I want to get? And sometimes we have to do a self-check about, okay, let me see, what am I doing that's wrong? Manners. And you're right. When it comes, our family loves Chick-fil-A, and it's for that reason right there, because how we're greeted, even if, and they hardly ever get anything wrong, but when they do, it's, oh, I'm sorry. Let's make that better. It's always just a great feeling. I'm gonna say this when you talking about because I text people, because, and there's a reason for that, because I'm a talker. Shada, when I call you, it's like a 25-minute conversation, and I have to, like, okay, I gotta go. But if the conversation is so good, but I realize I'm a talker, so I have to text. I'm sorry, I gotta text y'all, because if not, I'll be on the phone all day. But yeah, but no, that was great information. But some people are texters, and some, but you're right, messages can get misconstrued when you are texting someone. And I like to put like a little smiley emoji to make people know, hey, I'm not saying this in a bad way, but you're right. But great points. Thank you so much, Shada. Of course, you can reach her, she said, at Spiked Communications with an S on the end, right? LLC?
Spiked. My last name is Spikes with an S. My business is Spiked, because once you've worked with Shots of Spikes, you've been spiked.
All
So
right,
it's Spiked Communications LLC.com.
awesome. Thank you so much. All right, well, our next person is another one of our favorites, Stephen Thurston. He is from Chicago, Chi-Town. And when Pastor Mason and I were planning this event, we wanted someone to talk about customer service, because, customer service can break or make your business. We have ordered food and just walked out because of bad customer service, and I was hungry, y'all. But that's just how important customer service is. And so Steve is gonna keep it real. And so listen, I'm gonna go ahead and put a disclaimer on this one right here, because Steve really keeps it real. We are not responsible for what he's about to say, but we just like his realness. We love Steve. We love being around him. We love talking to him. It's always a great conversation. And so we now have Steve Thurston. He's going to talk about customer service. Hey, Steve.
What's up, Lady Pam? How are you today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm awesome. Thank you again, you and Pastor James, for inviting me to share. I always enjoy kicking it and connecting with Birmingham Bible Church. You all are doing amazing work to impact and expand the lives of people, not just in the spiritual dynamic, but holistically. And that's what I really love about your ministry and what you're doing there in the Birmingham area. And to be on with, such cool individuals who do such great work in so many different fields. I'm glad to be a part of the mix today. And I'm glad we've got the attorney on because, Pam, there's some property that I think we're supposed to be partnering with.
I ain't stunned you, Steve. Exactly what you talk about.
Well, let me dive into this customer service piece. Thank you, Shakta, for the alley-oop that kind of set the stage for me to dive into my content today, because we recognize that it is no secret that customer service needs to be a priority if you want your small business to succeed. We've all heard it before. Happy customers make for repeat customers, repeat purchases, and referrals that are going to come your way. And they're going to boost your company's reputation. And we live in this age and era where it's so easy for customers to publicly share their opinions about their experiences, for them to leave negative reviews and comments, for them to even launch campaigns to cancel you via their social media platforms, and or to shop for an alternative option on their phone while they're listening to you make excuses for the bad behavior or the bad product that you've produced. And so no longer is it good enough to just have good customer service. If you're going to turn your customers into ambassadors and evangelists, which should be a priority for you, to turn your customers into ambassadors, brand ambassadors, and evangelists, you need to go above and beyond just good customer service. Your customer service really needs to be exceptional. And some of us really don't know what exceptional customer service looks like. So I want to challenge you, save a few coins, save a few dollars, and go ahead and book you a night at the Four Seasons or the Waldorf Astoria or something of that nature, the Ritz-Carlton, whatever's in your community, in your area. Go to a 5 Michelin star restaurant, all right, so that you can truly see what excellent customer service looks like, juxtaposed to what you may have thought was great. You need to take it up to another level and see what that's really like, so that you can then implement some of those practices and procedures within the context of your business experience. So for those who are kind of considering and wondering why this customer service piece is so critical, so crucial, why is it, Stephen, that I have to shift from good customer service to exceptional customer service? Let me give you 7 things to consider concerning customer service and why it's so important. Number 1, service is the number 1 reason that customers stay. You just heard Shata talk about the experience of Chick-fil-A, and that's real. So service is the number 1 reason customers stay. Number 2, service is also the number 1 reason why people will leave your business. And listen, best way to improve customer service is to put yourself in the customer's shoes. How would you want to be treated? How would you want the situation handled? How would you want to be spoken to? Sometimes we're in our feelings and our emotions. As the business owner, we got other stuff to do. We don't want to give that person, that issue, that much detailed attention. But imagine if it were you on the other side of the fence, how would you want it handled? How would you want it to be treated? What would you want the follow-up to look like? That has to guide you, because it's going to have a great impact on your relationship with that customer and what that customer has to say about your business to other people. Listen, it's so expensive to bring in new customers, but it's so inexpensive to treat people right, who will then go out and do the work, the free work, in essence, of bringing more customers to your platform, to your business. Number 3, customer care protects the bottom line. Customer care, it protects the bottom line. Here's a fun fact. I just alluded to this. Losing a customer can cost 5 times as much as it would have to keep the same customer happy. So yes, it's worth the extra. Yes, it's worth going above and beyond, excuse me, taking an extra step in the process to make sure that that customer is happy. Number 4, people will pay more for good service. People will pay more for good service. Again, I'm sleeping in a bed, whether or not I'm at a Waldorf Astoria or I'm at a Super 8. A bed is a bed. There is a difference. I will pay a whole lot more to stay at the Peninsula, at the Waldorf Astoria. I will not stay at the Holiday Inn, the Motel Inn, leave the light on. I'm not doing none of that. I'm going to pay extra for the good service. When I go into the Ritz, they remember me. Mr. Thurston, glad to have you back again. So good to see you. Oh, I remember you like warm chocolate chip cookies when you get here. They're waiting for you in your room, sir. We were waiting for your arrival. All of that little minor stuff matters. I've been waiting for my car at the valet at the Ritz-Carlton, and they took too long. Not just for my sake, but for the manager's sake. And so the manager saw me standing there over 2 minutes. He came out and said, Mr. Thurston, we're going to comp you all of the fees that would be associated for parking your car with us during your stay. Don't worry, we're taking it off because I'm sorry, we've inconvenienced you by having to wait for your car. It should have been here by now. Those minor things matter. And I paid for the good service for them to pay attention to those details. People are overwhelmed with choices. That's the bottom line. So many options. The world is in the digital space. We can buy stuff from all over the globe. So people don't have to shop with you, don't have to utilize your service. Somebody else is doing it. And sometimes the easiest way to decide between two similar products is to go with a place that responds more quickly, helps more readily, and generally treats you better. Number 5, get this, word of mouth is the holy grail of small business. You may not have the money to hire Karvance. I've hired him before. He's Rolex style. He's the Rolls Royce of marketing. You may not have the money to engage him, but you do have a marketing and advertising budget in people who run their mouth freely about your business. And if you treat them well, they will tell other people about the service or the product that you provide. So you may not have the marketing and advertising budget, but what you do have is people who will talk for you. Word of mouth is still the holy grail of small business. Number 6, when customers speak of you, they're probably talking about your service. Whenever your name, your business name comes up in conversation, what they're ultimately focusing on in that conversation is the customer service that you provided. Because the bulk of your brand is most likely decided by what people say about you. Listen, I know this is Karvance's lane, but I don't think he'll mind me stepping into it a little bit. Branding is about what other people say about you and your business, not really about what you think about your business. So you've got to understand how others perceive you, how others receive you, how others engage with you, what others think of you when your name comes up in the context of providing a product or a service. And listen, when push comes to shove, people are going to almost always talk about how you took care of them, how you helped them to solve their problems. That's what they're speaking of. So make sure they've got something good, something positive to say. And then finally, number 7, great customer service makes people want to work with you. People want to be in business with other businesses that treat customers well. It's really as simple as that. I have no problem making recommendations for people to engage Sarita because she keeps me from going to jail and she treats me right in the process. The process is super smooth. It's super good. And so I tell everybody I know, you need to engage Sarita. You need to have her handle your taxes. You need to have her look over your books. I have no problem sending people to Shanta or Karvance because I've done business with them. And the people that I send to them come back and tell me, hey, they treated me right. They treated me well. And so they then go out and connect. And so we are all interconnected together. Now that I know about my sister, the attorney here, I'll be able to share her information with somebody else that needs that legal counsel to get their things set up and to get protected in the proper way. I'm able to do that because, hey, we get good reports back and they treat me well. And so we spread that word. Great customer service makes people want to work with you. So I get what's going through your mind. Well, Stephen, what does good customer service look like? Great question. It's agile, it's respectful, it's responsive, and it solves the customer's problems. But again, as I stated and alluded to earlier, here's the thing. That's not the goal. Good customer service isn't the goal. Being agile, being respectful, being responsive, solving the customer's problem, that's not the end goal. The reality should be that's the baseline for any business. I mean, like any business owner with sense, that ought to be common sense that you provide those basic things. What we're challenging you today is to level up. You need to engage in exceptional customer service. Let me give you 3 calling cards of exceptional customer service. Number 1, you're generous. Generosity might mean giving away some free products, some extra discounts, or surprise expedited shipping on the item that they've ordered from you. It can involve going above and beyond to fix issues by offering refunds or an extra coupon or a replacement item. But it doesn't always need to be monetary in terms of the offering that you give. Just anticipating the next issue or question a customer may have and proactively offering to help is one way you can be generous with your attention and with your time. Being generous takes it to the next level. Number 2, being unexpected. You should always try to deliver something that the customer doesn't see coming. It's that wow factor that really makes service exceptional. And it's the key to exceeding, not just meeting, but exceeding your customers' expectations. And then number 3, and finally, make it personal. Show the customer that you're listening and get to know the customer while they're engaging you. Asking those casual questions. In doing that, it can open up opportunities to surprise and delight the customer. You find out that their anniversary is coming up, their birthday is that day, and then you circle back and do something special and send them something. And they're like, how did they know? Oh, that's right. It did come up in conversation. Super thoughtful of them. Let me go on their website and order something else, buy something else. Those tiny things matter. It's about building the personal connections. And listen, stop waiting to read the reviews on your website or on Yelp or on the other platforms about how people engage and feel about your business, or stop waiting for customers to call you with a complaint. I want to challenge you. After the sale, after you've rendered the service, call and or email the customer and ask them about their experience after the sale, after using your product. Excuse me. So you can get that immediate feedback from the individual. Finding out how you can level up your service, your product, your offerings. It creates, again, that personal touch. Oh, they really care. I'm not just another sale. I'm not just another number. They want to know about what my emerging needs are. They want to look into my life and see down the road so that, oh, they can then provide and meet the need even before I know that there is a need. A business is nothing without customer service. Customers are looking beyond the good prices. They're looking beyond the good quality that you provide. They want to feel special, like their business really matters to you. And they want to have a meaningful experience that gives them a reason to come back time and time again to engage you with your product and or your service. Lady Pam, it's back in your hands.
See, that was great, man. That was awesome. As you were talking, I was actually thinking about we had our car service at a local place for a dealership, and they did. I wasn't expecting it. They called me and how was your service? I got an email, I got a text, but it was that extra
Yeah.
going out of their way, and I wasn't expecting. I was like, man, we're going to use them more often because normally we don't. We have a mechanic and we know one, but that is just great top customer service. He told us it was going to be an hour. It really took less than that, and I was so shocked and surprised. And I was like, man, we got to use them again. But you are so right. When you talk about word of mouth, that will that will build your business more than anything, or it will take it down 5 notches. Uh,
Yeah.
my husband is a great reviewer. Before we go somewhere, he will look at the reviews before we actually go. And I'm not that detailed, but he is. And I was like, okay, well, let's not go there then. And but your friend Robert Marshall told me not to Yelp anybody, and I was like, because I'm a Yelper. I remember one time I got bad service and I yelped them, and so anyway, we'll talk about that. But you're right, and people will come to you. There's a lady I ordered an outfit from, and great customer service. I gave her a shout out because it was. I mean, I ordered it on one day, I got it 2 days later. She stays in constant communication, but All those things are key. You're
Yes.
so key, on point. Thank you so much. Also, but I did have one question
Sure.
that relate to churches, because sometimes, you know, we think that just because, oh, it's the church,
Yeah.
should the same thing apply to churches as far as customer service?
It has to apply to churches if you're going to survive in our current climate and context. I actually do a teaching, a workshop entitled Chick-fil-A in the Church, where I teach churches how to implement some of the practices and principles that Chick-fil-A actually uses to have such high standards and high ratings as it relates to customer service. People have options, and the pandemic really exposed the menu of options for people to engage in churches all across the globe. And so if you garbage, your ushers are junkyard dogs, the environment and the ethos of that place is just nasty and rude. And there's an expectation where we can get away with it because you just ought to be here to serve the Lord. That's garbage. And people are going to move on and go to other places. And so it is crucial that we apply these same principles in, in the marketplace into the ministry space, because at the end of the day, the church needs customers. It needs consumers. It needs human beings to participate in its efforts and activities to keep that church going. And I cannot stress enough that it's important to have even a higher standard of excellence in the church than it is everywhere else. I don't want to be treated like royalty at the car wash, but then I'm treated like raggedy when I come to church. There has to be a level up in the church space, definitely.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much, Steve. Thank you for all that information. Well, our very last speaker for today, but he is definitely not the least. He is a successful business owner out of Atlanta. He was our family's barber years and years ago when we lived in Atlanta. And every now and then we go up there and holler at him. But he's big time. He's big time in Atlanta. I'm gonna let him talk about he's had several businesses, always having a business idea. So business owners, you need to listen up to Samuel Glickman. He is going to end this for us. He's going to give us some great tips. Thank you so much, Sam, for taking time out of your schedule as well. I know you're busy because it's a Saturday, and that's I guess that's National Haircut Day for a lot of us. So please, if you could spend some time and give us some tips as well.
Absolutely. How are you? Hello
Right.
to all viewers, and thank you. And I'm honored for being on here. I like the whole idea of National Barbers Day. That's we gotta figure that one out. We got the person
Okay.
that specializes in the intellectual property, so we're gonna figure that one out.
And that.
But yeah, I'm honored to be on here. This is our second time, and so I appreciate you, inviting me back. I heard a lot of amazing things prior to me coming on. Thank you for allowing me to be the last, because I had a lot going on this morning. I actually have a whole team of people around me right now, because I'm about to, as soon as this is over with, I'm recording my first podcast. And so I have a podcast that's launching called the Zeroed In Podcast. We're launching on the 23rd. And so it's a new phase of what I'm tapping into. But real quick, because I know we don't have much time, I want to hit you guys with a few questions, the viewers that are out here, because, that's just kind of my flow. One of those questions is, have you assessed your business yet? And I'm speaking to business owners. I'll talk to inspiring business owners in a minute, but if you're a business owner, have you assessed your business yet? There are a lot of us out here that wake up, go to sleep. It's a routine. And some of us have been making money for a long time. But as I heard somebody mention earlier, we really aren't structured to a point that we can analytically assess our business. What kind of business have we done in the month of February versus what kind of business we did in the month of March? So that's a question I want to leave you business owners. Have you assessed your business yet? Number two, have you mapped out all of your adjustments on paper? And why am I speaking on this? Because we're in the month of January. We're starting out a new year. And what you don't want to do is get into the second quarter of the year the same way you ended the previous year, right? So while you're in the first quarter, we're in the first week, literally, we're ending the first week of the new year. Before you enter this second week, you need to have some things mapped out. You need to set a goal, literally. January 31st, I want to be right here. This is what I want to accomplish. This is where I want to go. This is how I want to look. This is how I want to smell. This is how I want to feel, etc. Right? Have you mapped out your adjustments on paper? Put it down. You guys need to see it. Number 3, is your business worth your time? I'm going to repeat that. Is your business worth your time? Some of you have been wasting time for years. Your business hasn't been generating any income for years, but it's been taking a lot of your energy. It's been taking a lot of your time. It's been stressing you out. You've been losing sleep, but yet your business still isn't going anywhere. Some of you have a lot of pride. Some of you, your egos are like shooting out the roof, right? Because you don't want to appear as a failure. But watch this. There's a lot of success in folding something. I'm a firm believer. And if something is wasting your time and it's not worth it, fold it. I don't care how much money you spent on it. I don't care how much time you put into it, right? I don't care how much you think that's vested there. If it's not worth your time, fold it, end it, close the book on it, end the chapter. It's over with, all right? So is your business worth your time? That's another question. Number 4, is it time to switch it up and move on to the next? Is it time to switch it up and move on to the next? As I just alluded to the last question, is your business worth your time? If it's not, is it time to switch it up and move on to the next? The 5th question, which I think is the most important, are you willing to invest in what you believe will work? Are you willing to invest in what you believe will work? Some of us, man, we get these visions, we put it down on paper, we map it all out, and we can't sell ourselves on it. After doing all of that, it's just a good vision at the end of the day. Some of us, we put all of this stuff down and we try to sell it to others, but we're not willing to invest in it ourselves. And mainly because we're not sold on it. So I'm just hitting you straight out the box because we don't have a lot of time, and I want to be as blunt as possible because everybody was so elegantly speaking earlier prior to me, you know, on their expertise. I just figured I would just kind of hit you with a punch. I think a lot of people waste time when it comes to business. I think a lot of people are doing things that they aren't necessarily called to do, but it sounded good. It felt good. It seemed like a great idea. Some of you guys are doing things that others pitch to you, or some of you guys are doing things that you've seen others do, but it wasn't for you, right? So I think some of you guys need to take a step back, really assess who you are as a professional, figure out what kind of entrepreneur you are. Warren Buffett said he's not an establisher. He's only a sustainer. That's it. Meaning that if he built something from the ground up, 9 times out of 10, it would fail or it would never get built. Okay. There's another gentleman by the name of, good Lord, I lost his name. Anyway, he talks about being an establisher. He focuses on, you know, specializing in building something, getting it established, but he can't maintain it. If you ask him to maintain it, the business is going to fold. But what he specializes in getting it up off the ground and going for someone like a Warren Buffett to buy it and sustain it, right? That's what kind of entrepreneur he is. He probably can make a whole lot of money if he built it, established it, and maintained it. But he knows he doesn't have his strength there, right? So if his strength is in building and establishing and then ultimately selling to someone like a Warren Buffett, then he specializes really in building acquisitions. Right? That's what kind of entrepreneur he is. There are people out here that make a living off of building, establishing, and selling. Warren Buffett makes his, matter of fact, Warren Buffett said he doesn't even want to buy your business unless it's 99.9% successful. That 0.1%, that's his. That's what he's going to take, and he's going to make it grow. Or he'll sustain it to a point that is worth even more, because when his name is put on it, it now becomes worth more anyways. If Warren Buffett buys your business and now Warren Buffett is the one that's selling this business and everybody knows he only buys successful acquisitions, right? That's a business that I'm interested in. It's already a turnkey business. And because Warren Buffett's name is behind it, it makes it even more creditable, right? And so some people, they just want that inkling of what you've already built because they know they can take it to another level, right? And then you have those that are just, you know, they come in and they can take your business in your idea and they can flip it and add to it. You know, some people, man, they know how to make your vision grow, 10 times in every direction, right? I just think that if you figure out what kind of entrepreneur you are, if you can just take 10 steps back a little bit, in my case, it's 10. In your case, it may be one step back. But if you can just take some steps back, digest who you are as a professional, figure out what you've done in the past that didn't work, figure out the things that you've done in the past that did work, put all of that together, figure out a common denominator, equate that to what you're already envisioning for yourself now, and figure it out, right? It may not be for you. After you do all of this assessing, after you add all of these analytics together, it may not be for you, right? Some of us are making too many moves on things that are just a waste of our time. And what we cannot afford to do is waste any more time. It's too valuable. It's just way too valuable. We're already in. This is Saturday, tomorrow. No, this is the last day of the week. We're already into the second week of the new year. Before you know it, we'll be having this same conversation in December, the last week of the year, going into that watch night service, talking about these resolutions, right? What we don't want to do is waste another minute. Focus on who you are as an entrepreneur, focus on who you are as a professional, figure this thing out, make it happen. 2022 is going to be a big year. It's a foundational year for me. I got a lot of things that I'm looking forward to accomplishing this year. My biggest word that I can live with right now is execution. I want to execute. I know what it feels like to put things down on paper, only for me to look at them for 6 months and never execute. Do not procrastinate in this year. This is a great foundational year for you guys to get ahead. The resources are out here. A little statistic that I wanted to drop on you guys before I get off. We're up 36% in reference to those that have filed EIN numbers already. From 2021 to 2022, we're already in the first week. And I saw this come out on the SBA website yesterday. We're up 36%. That's how many people have left their jobs and have decided to be entrepreneurs or small business owners. That's all I got for you, Pam. Honored, privileged, and I'm a little hyped, man. I got a little energy because I got my thing going on over here. So I'm about to take this energy into my podcast, but I just wanted to drop that real quick, and hopefully you guys got something out of it.
Yes, that was good, Sam. And that was one question I had for you, because I know you've had so many businesses. You'll fold one barbershop, but then you come up with another one. It'd be a different location. And so, no, I'm glad you talked about really assessing your business. Is this working? What do we need to change? Do I need to fold it? But those are questions that you have to answer within yourself. Great discussion. I'm glad you talked about executing, because a lot of us are sitting on ideas that we've had for years and have not moved on anything yet. So I guess the advice is, well, of course you said don't procrastinate, but just get up and do it, huh? Just
do it.
Just start.
Yeah. Or don't do it. Or don't do it.
Or don't do it. Right. Or don't do it. No. So thank you so much, Sam. I know you're busy as well. Well, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Thank y'all so much for joining us. This ends our free entrepreneur extravaganza. Thank you for watching us on today. Thank you for sharing this with others. Don't forget, there are different ways you can support this particular avenue. You can support us, you can share this, and you can also sew into this. Our website is bhambc.org. Of course, you already know how to contact the various speakers who were on today. Make sure you go through the chat room, go through the comment section on Facebook, and you're able to see how you can further contact them if you have more questions, if you really want to connect with them, if you want to get more ideas, if you want to run things by them. We have some great people today, y'all. Also, if you have any other questions, if there's something that we may have missed, of course, you can email us at ladypam@tcowi.org. You can email at ladypam@tcowi.org. This is just one of the ways that we try to empower you, to educate you, to inspire you, to inform you. We just want to make sure that you are not just better spiritually, but you are better in every area of your life. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for sharing the word. Thank you for getting it out there. Uh, Make sure you have an awesome Saturday. Be safe, be well, stay safe, stay sane, and stay sanitized. We love y'all. See y'all tomorrow, hopefully at 11 o'clock a.m. Worship service time. Thank y'all so much. Have a great day. Thank you to all of our speakers. Love y'all.